Hello, my friends. How are you all? Welcome to the OAGRC. I'm Craig. Thanks so much for checking out the channel today. I'm continuing with the TT02 builds. If you remember, we've got the Type S over here, and we've got the regular TT02 over here. And the idea is that we're taking a look at the differences as I build these two models at the same time. Never built two RCs at once. It's been fun so far, I think. Main differences so far, as we've seen, have been in the carbon stays at the front and the back, but also the amount of travel that is in these arms here. You've got far more adjustability in these because you've got adjustable top rods, and over here you've got them fixed front and back. And when we get to it, the steering will be different as well. There's far more variation on what you can do with the shocks as well, and where you can position them. And it also has some nice metal drive shafts where they're nice and plastic and chunky over here. So they are different. I am going to put them both out on the Orchard Raceway together in their stock form, albeit this one does have the hard chassis in it because I didn't want to have to go through the whole rigmarole of completely rebuilding it. If I remember correctly, with the diffs over here, we packed those full of Tamiya AW grease, so they're really stiff and they're really slow to turn. Over here, we just used the kit grease, and they're quite loose actually in comparison. So I am expecting there to be quite a bit of difference when we get to the end of all this. Right, let's get cracking with the next step, which I think is building up some shocks, which over here will be nice and easy because they're friction shocks. Over here, they'll be a bit more difficult because they are CVAs. Let's get going. So, 5 minutes to build. Whoops. Crikey, can't even hold the bloody thing. Let me try again. 5 minutes to build the friction shocks. An hour to build the CVAs. I can tell you which ones feel nicer. Let's get them on. So suspension is mounted. Very, very, very stiff over here on the friction shocks, and nice and smooth over here on the CVA shocks. Now that is the difference. There's not a great deal of travel. There is some, but these over here are nice and soft. Lots of movement over here. Interestingly, that on the deck, so this is flat now with the chassis, this one sits slightly higher up than this one does. There's not much in it, but you can definitely see there's a different height on the chassis. And if you look down here where the wheel hubs are, these ones are sitting slightly lower than these ones. I don't know what that's going to mean. I will do once I've mounted some tyres on and we take a look at where it's got to. But yeah, not a bad start. What I do think is immediately clear is there's so much adjustment in the CVA and the shock setup here. I can go in, I can go out, I can move this up and down at the top. I can change the length of these shafts if I want to do. These are fixed. That's what you've got to play with. You can move it up, you can move it down. That's your lot. There's not a lot of movement in the shock setup here. Right, next thing we're doing is steering mechanisms. So the steering on the standard TT02 is relatively straightforward. You've got the same mechanisms you're going to see in a little bit, but what you've got, I turn it up this way, you've got a better view, is some fixed arms, both sides of the steering mechanisms, and they're going to attach in a very similar way. I think the Type S, the only difference on the Type S is going to be adjustable turnbuckles on the top. Steering is on the Type S, and as you can see, it's a similar setup, very, very similar. The only difference is those tie rods, there's adjustables either side. This mechanism, I believe, is all the same. Just got the ball cups. On this side, we haven't put that top bar in. That's in the next set. But here, you've got those fixed rods either side. So, we are taking shape. I'm going to leave it there for this episode. I think this is a bit of a shorter one, but we finished. This bag of parts is almost empty. And we are on to bag C, I believe, for the standard TT02. So we will continue our build in the next episode. And I think next we're going to be putting the electronics in, the servos are going in. Interestingly, I haven't got a bit of foamy stuff in that one yet. It must be there somewhere. We're going to get the electronics in next, and we are heading towards a finished chassis in part 4. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon on the OAG RC. Bye-bye for now.